after I repeat your name. Raise your right hands. I do solemnly swear that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and will support the Constitution thereof. So help me God. I do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a delegate to the Barnstable County Assembly of Delegates, according to the best of my abilities and understanding, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the Constitution and the laws of this Commonwealth. So help me God. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Congratulations, everyone.
I will call the new assembly to order, and we will rise for a moment of silent prayer and then the Pledge of Allegiance. In honor of those serving the country. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first order of business is to elect a speaker for the assembly. Are there any nominations? No? No. Roll call. Oop.
Richard Anderson.
Here.
Cheryl Andrews.
Here.
Ronald Bergstrom.
Here.
Leo Kukunis.
Here.
Christopher Kanega.
Here.
James Killian. Marcia King.
Here.
Thomas Lynch.
Present.
Teresa Martin.
Here.
Deborah McCutcheon.
Here.
Spiro Mitrakakis.
Present.
John Oman. Paul Pilcher.
Here.
Anthony Scalise.
Here.
Julia Taylor.
Here.
We have a quorum with 83.75% of the delegates.
I think that Jenny is correct that we perhaps should have the quick photo in front of the blackboard before we move to the speaker. Can I get people to agree to that? Okay. Now, with everyone sworn in? Excellent. So the first order of business now is to elect a speaker. Do we have any nominations? Teresa.
I nominate Ron Bergstrom as speaker.
Do we have any other nominations? In that case, can we cast a unanimous vote, or do we have to take a roll call vote? Okay, I think we can I will cast a unanimous vote for Ron Bergstrom for speaker. Oh, good. Excellent. Ron, you can now have this seat, and I will go to the end of
But to move right along, the next order of business will be the nominations for the post of Deputy Speaker. Yes, Chris.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Anderson for Deputy Speaker.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor? Well, I mean, if there's no other nominations, I guess precedent is that he is elected by acclamation. Okay, so the next order of business will be the nominations for clerk. Do I have any nominations? Julia?
Yes, because we are still without a permanent clerk recommendation, I would suggest that we continue to have Michelle Springer as acting clerk until that other appointment is suggested.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. Is there any other nominations? Hearing none, all those, well, I guess that's once, now, again, it's acclamation. I'm on a roll here, okay.
Mr. Speaker.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk about you should call a roll call.
Okay, we will then call the roll. The nomination of Michelle Springer for clerk. Why don't we call the roll on that? We're presuming. A call, a voice call? Okay, well, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Sounds unanimous to me. We'll now, we got the agenda? We seem to be missing it.
This one for
Okay, we now move on to approval of the calendar of business, and I have an amendment to the calendar of business. Mr. Zelinski will not be here. Okay, so we're going to be spared his financial overview for a couple of weeks anyway. So I'll make that amendment. Do I get a second to that amendment? Second, okay. And all those in favor say aye? Aye, okay. So with that, I need a motion to approve the amended calendar.
Move for approval of the amended calendar, please.
Okay, second. All those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Now you've received a copy of the Journal of December 15, 2010. Seems like a long time ago. The holidays intervening. Do I have a motion to approve the Journal?
Motion.
Okay, so moved. I need a second and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and now I'm going to recognize the chairman of the county commissioners, Mr. Doherty.
You can hold your flag. Welcome to all of the new members. I believe the microphone is on. Okay. Welcome to all the new members. I was proud to have served 2 terms as a member of this body, and I think that I look fondly back on those times and those years that I served, and I know that those of you who are joining will have an equal opportunity to participate in the life of the county, and welcome. I have provided you with a copy of a flyer on regional government of Barnstable County, as well as a recent report, and that I hope will give you some information on what are for the new members and a review for the older members as to what the various county departments do. Some of the newer departments, or let's say newer activities like wastewater collaborative, is not reflected in this, but might be reflected a little bit detailed in the annual report. But I felt that that might be a useful thing to have as you start, so that we can then build on that. We are in the process of beginning the fiscal 2012 budget, and we're reviewing the budget, or have reviewed the budget of the following departments at our last meeting, our organization meeting on Monday: Health and Environment, Facilities, Cape Cod Commission, Finance, Cape Light Compact, and the Dredge. Next week, a week from today, we'll be reviewing the Resource Development Office in AmeriCorps, Cape Cod, Children's Cove, and Human Services. We are proposing to submit our budget to the Assembly at the meeting of March 16th, 2011. And let's see, I have a note from Mark saying, please don't lecture them, let them know that we schedule a Barnstable County Finances 101 season for their meeting on February 16th, which would be, I guess, about 3 weeks from now. And he will be doing a PowerPoint on budgeting, accounting, and so forth. And I'm supposed to mention to you that the receipts for the open meeting law and conflict of interest law are due and should be filed with Michelle. Some of us when you look at the receipt on the back where it says, "I've read and understood," might take some exception to the understand part, because some of it is in what I would call interesting language. But I would leave that to you, to brighter minds than mine. But in any case, you are required to, to have, to give a receipt that you have seen it and you have passed it on. So, with that, I would only add one other thing. Within the organization of regional government, we have several organizations that make decisions which are then put before you for review, one of which is the Cape Cod Commission, which will propose from time to time DCPCs and DRIs. It's my intention to ask the appointed members of the Cape Cod Commission to communicate with the elected members from their town so that they can know the basis by which they voted for the, when they either voted up or down on a recommendation for a DRI or DCPC. I've felt for some time that communication linkage would be very useful and important, and I hope that you would reciprocate as well, because these are two functions that two operations that are very important to Cape Cod, and I believe that we shouldn't operate in silos. I think that we preach a doctrine of the importance of communication, and I believe that it starts with each one of us. So anyway, I hope that you already know the name of the appointed Cape Cod Commission delegate in your town, and I hope that you would reach out and make yourself acquainted with them. So with that, I would be prepared to answer any questions.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for the newly elected commissioner? Yes,
Commissioner.
Chair.
And I was newly elected last November. Remember that?
Yep.
75,950 people decided that they wanted me.
But you didn't get sworn in until recently, or did you get sworn in?
I certainly did. Are you kidding me?
Okay, Julia.
Bill, I recently was in contact with the Cape Cod Commission, and it turns out that you cannot get the phone number or address of any commission members. They are considered to be, where our names and addresses are available, their names are available, but their address and phone number is not available at the commission, period. So, my member is not in the phone book. So that's an issue, I think. And so neither we nor the citizens of our towns have any easy access to them by email, by phone, or by letter. You can write to them care of the commission, and they will forward that along. Obviously, I didn't think it was good.
Julie, I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the processes by which members join the Cape Cod Commission is an appointment through their boards of selectmen. And this might be a great opportunity for you to remind the Board of Selectmen, as you make your usual reports on the activities of the Assembly to the Board, as to how to access and contact the person that they appointed from the town. I agree with Julie that is something that I wasn't aware of. But then, when I was a voting member of the Cape Cod Commission, everybody knew how to get a hold of me. So.
Well, Mr. Speaker, to follow up, I think it is worth reporting to the selectmen, but this is a policy of the commission, and you have some oversight over them, and so it might be worth your bringing up with the Cape Cod Commission administration.
Well, although I would not be able to reach them today, be assured by start of business tomorrow, I will follow that up and see whether or not, for the very least, that the members of the Assembly would have access and addresses. And if that fails, I'll make it my personal business that the next time we meet, I'll have a list for you.
Okay, Leo, do you have a question?
Thank you. With my, I was appointed to the Cape Cod Commission as a Howard's representative. In my tenure there, this was probably one of the hardest things that I had to wrestle with. I understand, and to my understanding anyhow, why the commission operates in that manner is because the commissioners themselves, as they're reviewing projects, have to act kind of like a jury. They should not go out and solicit either information, shouldn't go toward the murder scene alone. They really need to hear and be presented the same evidence as available for everyone else. Once the case, if you will, or the project DRI has been either approved or denied, they're certainly in the position that they should go back or can go back and report that information to their appointing body, in this case the Board of Selectmen, or in Howard's case the Board of Selectmen. But I think it was explained to me at that time that the reason why the Cape Cod Commission does that is to not put some of the commissioners in a position where they will be tempted, let's say, to speak out of turn or out of term when they shouldn't be. You shouldn't, when you're a commissioner, you shouldn't make a decision on a project until it's actually time to call a vote, because you want to hear both sides. You want to make sure you're giving everyone a fair opportunity. And I believe that in their eyes, I'm not speaking for them, but this is how it was explained to me, it makes it easier for them if the commissioners themselves aren't constantly lobbied, if you will, or called. Now, once a DRI has been approved, I'm sure legally they're in a position that they could report why they voted a certain way or didn't vote a certain way. But it just makes their life a little easier when people aren't lobbying them.
Leo is absolutely correct, because I sat on the same commission that he did where this was explained, and it wasn't my intention to suggest that there'd be a lobbying activity. However, I believe at that period of time that I had suggested that once the die was cast, that it was an opportunity to find out their reasons for voting or not voting, and I think that that's a useful thing for people to know, especially when that information is then put before you to judge whether or not a DCPC or DRI should be accepted, because we do have that system of checks and balances. The Cape Cod Commission is indeed part of the regional government, and I believe that you deserve and should have as much information as you need in order to make what I would call an informed judgment. So Leo was right, and I'm right. So hopefully, when we go forward... I gave you 50% this time, Leo.
Yes, Tom, and then Cheryl.
As you do your budget negotiations and deliberations with the various departments that are going before you, I'm sure you're looking at maintaining existing services, which I would certainly support, and I know wastewater will be high on the agenda. But I'd also like to see you give some attention to a couple of issues, including transparency, that I think we've done some work on. And I know last year we had additional dollars go into IT and whatever, but I'd like to see additional development of the website, and also if we could in some way have live broadcasting instead of the system we have now. I think we've made leaps in that area, but I think that, and if you guys, if the executive branch could consider that. And I think the other issue that I would hope you'd give some attention to would be homelessness. It's, as we all know, it's a regional issue. There have been cutbacks from the grant money that we've gotten, and I've been, I've seen the review. The NOAA shelter has a advisory draft report out that an advisory committee has put together, and they're talking about trying to re-energize the emergency response network. They said that's kind of gone down. If there's any way the county can play a role in that, I would hope they would.
On the homelessness, of course, is something that's closer to our heart, and we've both been very active in in housing matters over the years, and believe me, we'll do what we can, because the issue of social justice and the responsibility of a regional government to meet what I'd call safety net responsibility is certainly there. However, there is a limitation in terms of availability of funding. I've made it a personal goal to at least set up one virtual meeting a month, and as part of that is a consideration of perhaps, instead of meeting on a Wednesday morning for this virtual meeting, perhaps we could, the one thing that, that I've been thinking that could be doable in the short term is to have a late afternoon meeting, perhaps on a Tuesday afternoon, similar to the time that you folks meet, that would be a virtual meeting that would allow for some portion, at least, for public, for public comment to come in for those who might choose to watch it. Although the taping is virtual in the sense that it's going over the internet, there's not really an opportunity for interaction, and it's at a time when those of us who are gainfully employed might be working, dare I suggest, and we're trying to reach out to those, to those people. And although 33% of us are over 55 and perhaps are at leisure, that still leaves 66% of us that, while not children, we have to figure out some way of, of encouraging those people to participate. So it's my goal to put that in place as quickly, at least within the next couple of months, to have one meeting a month that would be virtual. And I have to say that I've gotten some great support from Teresa Martin in suggesting, different methodology for that. And we'll be reaching out to her as well as to others to see if we can make this happen sooner than later, because I share your concern about that.
Just a question. I happen to join the Assembly at a time where I think I'm going to learn a lot very quickly about the relationship between the Commission and the delegates, and that's primarily because the first meeting I attended was with regards to amending the regional policy plan. So I'm very curious to understand just a little bit more about that comment about lobbying your commissioner, because I've already set up a meeting to meet with mine. And the question is, I think you characterized the role regarding DRI as adjudicatory. Is that true also for DCPC and for the policy plan? Is that the same, or is it different because it's broad-based?
Let Bill answer that if you want.
Okay, well, there's three parts of your question. I believe that the DRIs and the DCPCs are ones that come to your attention for vote.
So does the, right.
Well, in terms of specific action, with regard to policy, I believe that when we went through this at the Cape Cod Commission, I had felt, and I thought we had agreement on that an explanation of the detail within the policy plan was something that the Cape Cod Commission member was in a position to report to the selectmen, to the Board of Selectmen, not from the point of view of soliciting opinion or advice, but just tell them what had been proposed. At that point, the selectmen could give an opinion, and as long as it was on the record, as if I remember correctly, as long as it was on the record at the Board of Selectmen, then it was considered to be not lobbying, because it was in the public sector. There might be a little bit of of grayness in what you're doing, but you certainly should feel free to introduce yourself to the commission member to find out what that person is doing, and at that point, I think that you'd have to make a judgment from your own point of view as to what represents an appropriate level of ethical behavior as far as the influence on it. When the commission member, Cape Cod Commission member, has voted on something, it's a fait accompli. It's not a question of will you vote or how will you vote, but you did vote. And to me, it's a legitimate question to say, okay, you voted for this, could you tell me your reasons for that, in way of helping to inform my opinion as it comes before the Assembly, so I'll have as much information as is useful in order to make an appropriate judgment. The other thing that I've encouraged Paul Nizwicki to look at is the possibility that, in addition to giving complete presentations before the subcommittee, that as matters that relate to the Cape Cod Commission come before the body as a whole, that perhaps that presentation should be repeated so that everybody would have the benefit of the information that the subcommittee has heard. And as important as the subcommittee's vote in recommending approval, I think it's also important that all of you, as members of the Assembly, know what the, what the Cape Cod Commission is intending, so that you'd be able to make a vote based upon a complete judgment of what's going on.
Leo, do you want to follow up?
Again, I can only tell you how I personally would operate. I feel, again, if this body has a pending public hearing on an issue and a pending vote on an issue, I personally would not be going out soliciting information from, and we'll use the Cape Cod Commission appointee as just for example. If the Harwich representative of the Cape Cod Commission had some information or some standing that he wanted or she wanted to express to me, I personally would tell them to put it in writing and submit it to the clerk, so all of you also have that same opportunity to understand why that person voted the way they voted. I believe that it would be improper to go out at any stage of the game when we're about to take a vote on something and try to gather up information on our own and not make that information also available to the other members, because then when it comes time to vote, it could be perceived that a member has more information than another. And to make my life easier, I just tell people right up, you know what, if you have something you want me to read, send it to the clerk, because they'll make copies, and all my members and friends here on the delegates will get copies of it, and they'll all read it at the same time. That way there, when I go to the public hearing, I have an open mind. I haven't been swayed one way or the other, and I don't have any more or less information than you all have.
I would like to respond to that and say that I would presume that you would tell people that somebody, you had had that conversation and share, and use this opportunity to share information with everybody else. At this point, I'm giving an opinion.
Okay, I think we should send Leo to Washington, because there'd be a hell of a lot of lobbyists to be out of
By the
business.
way, the reason why Pat Flynn isn't here, by the way, is she is in Washington as we speak, attending what your new congressman has called his inauguration. I believe it's a swearing in.
Not a coronation?
And I've heard through secondary sources that he might be setting up an office at One Financial Place over in Hyannis. But if anybody knows how to get a hold of him, I'd appreciate finding that out. He seems to be operating on a stealth basis, and where we have spent so much time trying to be visible.
The election is over, Bill.
Well, I'm not running for Congress yet.
I appreciate your comments. Anyway, is there any other questions for the county commissioners? Any subject, Tom?
Mr. Speaker, I just want to, I have seen Congressman now, not Congressman-elect, but I saw Congressman-elect Keating in the district after the election. I've seen him. We expect to see him. He will be at One Financial Place. I'm sure they'll be making announcements of staff. I don't want the general impression to the public that he's in some way not around. He visited down the Lower Cape to look at some of the erosion problems. He's called town hall on some occasions, and I expect, just as Senator-elect, or now Senator Wolf has established, a district office at the Barnstable Town Hall with Sue Robach in place. I'm sure we'll be hearing more about how to get a hold of folks, but I like a joke as much as anyone, but I just don't think he has. I know he's been visible around and helped over the holidays at a couple of functions that I attended.
We don't want to go too far down this road. I think we should get back to the county business here. Are we all set for Commissioner Doherty? Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Bill. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Okay. Do we have? Well, we obviously eliminated the financial overview, so do we have any communications from public officials? Any communications from members of the public?
Go ahead.
Oh, yes, certainly. I see a very esteemed member of the public to come to have a seat. And why don't you sit in front of the microphone so we can hear you? And you can identify yourself.
Oh, down there, push. Thank you. I'm Jerry Rappaport. I'm an observer from the League of Women Voters of the Cape Cod area. We are planning a forum on Barnstable County government. Lose it, change it, improve it, a conversation with regional leaders. We're not sure what's been happening publicly with the charter review, committee, but so much has been raised here and in the press that we felt the public needed an opportunity to get on board and understand what issues were being presented and discussed. So I'm pleased to send you all copies and hope you can all come. It is January 29th at 9:30 at the Harwich Community Center, and a wonderful host for our forums. Our speakers include Paul Neswicki, Senator Robert O'Leary, Wendy Northcross, Julia Taylor, William Doherty, and it will be moderated by your own Teresa Martin. So we think it's a good opportunity for the public to get involved in the discussions about the function and the composition of county government. So I hope to see you there.
Okay, thank you very much. January 29th, do we know? Okay. Are there any other communications from members of the public? Yes, I see a member, sort of a semi-public member.
Semi-public?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, I forgot to do that.
That's okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There was a discussion about communications between the boards, and I'm privileged to videotape the county commissioners' meetings, the Cape Cod Commission meetings, and the assembly meetings. And the presentations that the various county departments of Cape Cod Commission or facilities or whatever make to the commissioners or to the Cape Cod Commission are much more detailed than what come before this organization. And it's possible to go to the county website and view the entire presentation within 48 hours of the meeting. So if you know something is coming before the Cape Cod Commission, you can go right on the barnstablecounty.org website, click down, and get the entire presentation that isn't often presented to the entire body. And I just wanted to make you aware of all of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I have one more?
Yep.
Mr. Lynch suggested that it would be nice if we could go live with these, which would be fine with me, but the physical setup of the cable systems on Cape Cod, there are actually 6 separate cable systems, and Mr. Anderson will tell you that although it's possible to link them all together and go live for like the telethon, the NOAA telethon, it takes a lot of technical button pushing and personal ego stroking, and it's really the county doesn't have a seat in the licensing of the cable companies, so we don't have a chance to muscle a channel. There was an attempt a couple of years ago to dovetail with the community college channel, but that didn't work for a number of reasons either. So going live, the internet is the only way to go. The county commissioners meetings are broadcast live on the internet, and it's at dimdim.com/Barnstable County. And I'll be happy to send that in an email or written form to anybody who would like to see it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Before we go into before the assembly convenes, I guess I've been remiss. Those of you know we have, excuse me, four new members. Barbara McCutcheon from Truro. What's that? Deborah, I'm sorry. Deborah McCutcheon from Truro. And we have James Killian from Sandwich. And Spiro Mitrokostas from Yarmouth. And who am I forgetting? Oh, Cheryl Andrews from Provincetown. So they've joined us. And when the assembly convenes, and it was touched on by Commissioner Doherty, the custom is not to allow any outside conversations with anyone outside the assembly unless the rules are suspended. So it's been an issue in the past. So if a commission member, for instance, was sitting there and we were discussing commission business, we wouldn't be able to recognize him unless the entire assembly suspended the rules for that specific purpose. So that's why. So with that, I will now convene the assembly, and we'll begin with proposed resolution 10-03 to approve certain budget transfers for fiscal year 2011 in accordance with Barnstable County Ordinance 10-04 for the Health and Environment Department. And this, you should have received a copy of this. This is identified as a routine transfer of $6,000. So do you have any comments on this? You have it in front of you? You see the explanation? This is money transferred from an unfilled position, and it's intended to be used to provide immunization and surveillance efforts, tuberculosis exposure testing, education to at-risk groups for tick and Lyme disease, and the completion of wellness health screenings in community settings. So, unless we have any objections or questions, I'll need a motion to approve this. Okay. Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
I
Yeah.
have a question. You know what? $6,000, is that that's enough to cover it till the end of the fiscal year? That's what they're saying? And if so, how many hours is this, or what does the lady do, or,
Well,
some more information would be nice.
all I can say is what's written in the ordinance, it says that it will allow us to fulfill remaining commitments. I assume that corresponds to the commitments in the fiscal year, which will end in June. So this is work that's ongoing, and it's a supplemental appropriation. Dick?
All right, and also, have they hired a public health nurse, or is this for contract? Or is that in there also?
Yeah. Marcia?
I might be able to help only because I actually talked to, the position is still open, and I do not believe it's actually being advertised. And what they're doing is they're hiring contracts. And the reason I actually chatted with a couple of these nurses, if you read in the description, one of the things they do is they do these preventative health programs for your town employees. So I actually went to one in the town of Barnstable, and I was talking to them, and they said, yeah, we can't seem to hire a full-time, and so that's one of the activities that they're doing. I don't know if they're going to go back out and apply, but currently it's not a advertisement, but they're doing per diem nursing. So.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Okay. Is it moved and seconded? Do we have a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any other further questions? Tom?
I'm just confused about the proposed resolution. It's 10-03, but it's just the mechanics of it. But it's in accordance with Barnstable County Ordinance 10-04, and isn't it fiscal year 11? Do we do our resolutions by fiscal year or calendar year? And can you carry over one from last year such that this should be at least 11-01, or should it be? I'm not clear on that. Clerk?
If I may.
Yes.
Tom, we received this in 2010. Therefore, whatever the next number is, we do it according to when we receive them. So we received two other resolutions prior to this resolution, which made it 10-1, 10-2. Now this one is 10-3. When it is approved, it'll be 11-01 because it's being approved in the year of 2011. So it's basically calendar year.
Thank you.
Okay. Tony?
Along the lines of what Tom was just asking, Ordinance 1004, is that last year's budget?
No, I think what she said, it's the calendar.
This is proposed resolution 1003, I understand that, but then it says in accordance with Barnstable County Ordinance 1004. Was that last year's budget? Is this going in last year's budget?
This goes into this is a budget transfer in the current fiscal year.
10-04 was our budget ordinance for last year, but the budget is for 2011.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, say that last thing again.
The budget is for 2011.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. If there's no further comment, I'll call for a vote. It's a resolution. I guess we can take a voice vote on this? Roll call vote, okay. Wow.
Richard Anderson?
Yes.
Cheryl Andrews?
Yes.
Ron Bergstrom?
Yes.
Leo Kukunis? Christopher Kanega?
Yes.
James Killian? Marcia King?
Yes.
Thomas Lynch,
Yes.
Teresa Martin,
Yes.
Deborah McCutcheon. McCutcheon. I will get that, I promise, I'm sorry. Spiro Mitrakostas.
Yes.
John Omen.
Yes.
Paul Pilcher.
Yes.
Anthony Scalise.
Yes.
Julia Taylor.
Yes.
Okay.
Proposed ordinance 10-03 passes with 100% delegates.
Okay. I don't see it on the, agenda, but normally we have a report from the clerk. Do we have anything?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
There will be a public hearing on January 12th at 4 PM on proposed ordinance 10-22, which is the Craigville Beach DCPC. There's a copy of it in your packet. There will also be a public hearing on January 19th at 3 PM on proposed ordinance 10-24, which is the technical amendment to the regional policy plan, and proposed ordinance 10-25 on the land use vision map. There will also be a vote that day at the meeting, regular meeting. And in your packet, there's payroll information that needs to be completed and returned to Jenny no later than January 19th.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other business to be brought before the assembly? I have a few comments. First of all, I'd like to welcome the new delegates, and I'd also like to thank the assembly for electing me for another term as speaker. It should be an interesting year. I have not finalized committee assignments. I didn't want to be presumptuous, but now I will, so I'll probably have them on your email by Friday morning. If you have any, if you have any, really give me, if you have anything you absolutely want to do or so on, please email me. You can do it through the clerk or directly. I intend to try and delegate a lot of the responsibilities to the various committees, and hopefully this will be a very inclusive session of the assembly. The other piece of business we have is the search for a clerk is ongoing. We can't really disseminate a lot of information due to the privacy involved of the applicants, but we are receiving applications. We have done some interviews, and we anticipate having someone in place or having someone hired and a name come before you by early February. And whether and how soon a person will be in place depends on the time they need, presuming they are currently employed. There's several. If they're currently employed, they'll have to give a decent notification to their current employer. So we're hoping that within a month or so, we will have a name and hopefully someone in place by the end of February. So that's pretty much all I can really. The information I can really disseminate now. So, Dick?
Yeah, I have a question for the clerk in regards to the open meeting law signatures. If we've already filled it out for the town, do we still have to fill it out for the county?
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, okay, is there no other business before? Okay, let me get a motion to adjourn. Second, moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the first session, 2011.